Welcome along to the second video in our tutorial series where we're learning how to create a space shooter game using Pygame 0. In the first video tutorial we got as far as bringing in our spaceship, or our little player here, that can fly around the screen using the arrow keys on our keyboard. And we also made it impossible to fly out of the game screen, so we can go around to every edge of the page and we cannot fly out of it. Okay, so that's all we did in the first tutorial. In this second tutorial we are going to get our player shooting, so we'll be able to shoot bullets when we press the space bar on our keyboard. Alright, so let's get started on that. So the first thing we're going to do is head to the top section of our code above this update section, and we're going to make a little bit of room here to add in a couple of lines of code. Now when we shoot the bullets, we press the space bar, and each time we press the space bar we want to have a bullet appear on our screen. Now there could be multiple instances of the bullet appearing on our screen at once. Okay, so to store all of those bullets, what we're going to do is create a list. So our list is going to be called bullets, and we're going to set that equal to square brackets. So we open and close a square bracket, and what that has done there is created an empty list. You might remember from previous Python tutorials, when we create a list we use square brackets, and usually you'll write something inside of there, but for now we're creating an empty list. It's going to hold all the bullets that we shoot in our game. Now I put in a comment above this just so we can explain what's going on in this code. So I might just say create an empty list to hold multiple bullets on the screen at once. Okay, if we're only having one bullet on the screen at once, we wouldn't need to create a list, but because we're going to have multiple bullets appearing on the screen in one go, that's why I'm creating a list. Another thing we're going to need to add here is a brief pause. So when we shoot our bullets, we don't want to be firing out a million bullets all at once. It'll make the game too easy. So what we want to have is a little brief pause each time we press that space bar, so that the user can't shoot too many bullets at once. So I'm going to make a variable called bullet delay. And to begin with, we're going to set that to 0. Further on down in the code, we're going to change that so that the player has that brief pause each time they press the space bar, and they can't shoot any more bullets for a short period of time. Okay, so that's the start bit. We've set up our list and we've set up our delay to 0. Okay, nothing major yet. That's not going to affect our game in any way. Okay, so we need to come down to the define update section, and in this update section this is where we actually write the code to get our bullet appearing on the screen and then moving up the page. Okay, now like I said before, we need to press the space bar to get these bullets appearing on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to go below the player movements and the bit that stops the player flying off the screen. So just above that draw function I'm going to be, and I'm going to add in an if statement here that will check to see if the space bar has been pressed. So I might put in a comment here. It says check if the space bar has been pressed. Okay, so let's do an if statement that says if keyboard.space, we'll put a colon. Now we just need to write down what we want to occur if the keyboard, spell that properly, if the space bar on our keyboard is pressed. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is set up a bullet. Okay, and we'll need to assign an actor to that bullet, or a picture to that bullet variable. Okay, so in brackets, in quotation marks, I'm going to write player underscore bullet, and close off the brackets there. If you look in your images folder, you'll see there's a player bullet just there. That's the little picture that I'm assigning to that to the bullet variable. Okay, so now that bullet variable has a picture associated with it, the next thing we might do is set the coordinates for where we want this bullet to appear on the screen. Okay, so we'll start with the x coordinates. All right, bullet.x equals, and we want it to appear right on top of the player's x position, or x coordinate. So I'm going to write the bullet.x coordinate is going to be exactly the same as the player .x, or the player's x coordinate. And I'll put in a comment just to quickly explain that. So make the bullet shoot out of the player's X position. Okay, now the next line of code is very similar. Okay, this time we're going to be looking at the y coordinate along the y-axis here. So the bullet.y, it's going to be equal to player.y as well. Okay, so our bullet is basically appearing exactly on top of where our player will be currently positioned on the page. Okay, now the comment that you put here is going to be almost the same, so I'm just going to cheat and copy and paste that comment. And it's just going to say make the bullet shoot out of the player's Y position. Okay, so we've got our bullet set up now to appear on top of the player when we press the spacebar. We will also need to now tell the bullet what direction to move in. So we're going to write bullet.angle. And actually no, we don't use brackets, we use an equal sign. We're going to set the angle of the bullet to 90 degrees. That means straight up. If we were to set it to 0 degrees, the bullet would move off to the right hand side of the screen. Okay, so we set it to 90 degrees, it's going to move straight up the page. Okay, so I'll just put a comment in that says make the bullet shoot up the page. What are we going to do next? The next thing that we might do is actually get the bullet to appear on the screen, and we're going to put it inside of this empty list called bullets. Okay, remember, if you want the bullets to appear on the screen, we've got to store them somewhere, and it's going to be inside of that bullets list. Okay, so we're going to write bullets, that's the name of that list, and write .append. That means we're going to add something to that bullets list. And we need to write in brackets what we would like to add to that list when we press the spacebar. We're simply going to add in the bullet variable. Okay, that's all that is doing there. So I'll just put a comment that says add a new bullet to the screen and the bullets list each time the spacebar is pressed. Alright, so I think that is looking pretty good. I can almost test this out actually. So what we might do before we test it is just quickly draw the bullet onto the screen. So down in the draw function at the bottom here, underneath where we draw the player, we better put in a comment that says draw the bullets. And because we've got multiple bullets that can appear on the screen at once, we're going to have to run a loop here to display all of those bullets on the screen. So we're going to write for bullet in bullets. So we're going to be looking in that list called bullets. Okay, and we're looking for each instance of the bullet here. Okay, so I'm going to write for bullets. For bullet in bullets, and then I'm going to write bullet.draw. Okay, so that list could have like 20 bullets in it at one time, and it's going to draw all 20 of those bullets with that little line of code there. There might be only 5 bullets on the screen at one time. Okay, it's just going to look in that list and draw whatever is in that bullets list. Let's give that a run and see if it works. It's not going to work properly, but we should be able to press spacebar, and you might see there a bullet has appeared on the screen right on my X and Y coordinate of the plane. So if I fly up the top left here and press spacebar again, a bullet appears. Watch what happens when I hold down spacebar. Okay, many bullets will appear on the screen at once. Okay, now we need to put a stop to that because it makes the game too easy. We need to put in that delay I was talking about before to prevent so many bullets being shot at once. Alright, so remember up here we've set the delay to 0 at the moment. Now when that bullet delay is equal to 0, we want it to be able to shoot a bullet. Okay, so I'm going to go back down to my update code here where it says if the keyboard dot space. That means if we're pressing spacebar on the keyboard. I'm going to put in another condition here. So I'm going to write the AND keyword after if keyboard dot space, and the bullet delay variable is equal to 0. Now remember, if we're conducting a test, we use 2 equal signs. So here we are conducting a test. We're checking to see if that bullet delay variable is equal to 0. If it is, and the spacebar has been pressed, then we're going to shoot a bullet. Okay, now once we've shot that bullet, that's when we want to change this bullet delay variable. We want to put in a little timer, just a short timer, to prevent them shooting any further. So I'm going to put in at the end here, bullet underscore delay equals 10. It's going to be our little countdown timer. It's not a 10-second timer. I did some research actually since making the last video. Apparently Pygame 0 games run at 60 frames per second. So if you wanted a 1-second delay, you'd probably make that number equal to 60. But we're just going to have a very short delay, so we're going to set it to 10. And we'll put in a comment here that just says, put in a brief pause so the player can't shoot too many bullets at once. Now you can adjust that number. If you think 10 is too brief of a delay, in a moment you can make that a bigger number. So the bigger the number, the more of a delay you're going to get between when bullets will come out of your spaceship. Okay, now that isn't quite finished yet. We've set that delay up to 10. Now we've got to count backwards from 10 and get back to 0 so we can then shoot another bullet. Okay, and each time we shoot a bullet, that timer will go back to 10. Okay, and then we want it to count down all the way back to 0 so we're ready to shoot another bullet. So what we're going to do is come in underneath here and put in a comment that says, I might just say countdown timer to prevent users shooting too many bullets at once. So similar to that code above. And it's going to be an if statement. So if the bullet delay is greater than 0, put a colon, then we're going to go bullet delay minus equals 1. So basically it's going to count down one step at a time until it gets back to 0, and that means we can then shoot another bullet. That should work, I think. Let's give it a test run. Oops, we've got an error. Yes, okay, so the bullet delay variable has been referenced before assignment. Okay, we need to create a global variable here. So if we look back up the top of our code, bullet delay is equal to 0 right here. Okay, if we want to adjust that number and update that number or that variable in the update function here, which we are doing, okay, remember we set it to 10 here and then we change the number of it here, we need to make it a global variable. So that means we can change it in this update function and we can change it at the start of our code as well. Okay, so inside of this define update function, just add a new line straight under it, and I want you to write global and write bullet delay. Okay, that makes the bullet delay variable a global variable, meaning we can now update it inside of this update function. So let's play our code again. Everything's working. We can move our player around, and if I press spacebar and hold it down now, you can see there's a little bit of a gap now between each of those bullets, showing me that very brief delay. Okay, before those bullets were all connected, there was just no delay whatsoever, so those bullets would just be coming out thick and fast. But now there is a very slight delay. Let's go and adjust that timer from 10 to 60. Let's see if it just appears once every second now. So I'm going to hold spacebar, and you can see now that delay has become quite large. Okay, I think 1 second is probably a little bit too long, so I'm going to change that back down to, let's try 20. I think 10 might have been a bit quick. Let's see. Yeah, 20 is not too bad. So it's up to you what you choose. Depends how fast you want to shoot bullets, but my bullet delay in this update function there is going to be set to 20. Okay. Next thing we need to do is get these bullets actually moving. Okay, we can't just have them sitting on the screen like we just saw. So what we're going to do is make them fly up the screen now. So I'm going to put in a comment and just say, make the bullets fly up the screen. Actually, let's be a bullet. Okay, from here we're going to create a loop, and we're going to look through that list of bullets first of all. So this empty list at the moment, when we press the space bar, we're going to start adding bullets to it, and we're going to be looking through that list for any bullet that's in there, and we're going to tell it to start moving up the screen. So for bullet in bullets, so we're looking in that list called bullets for any bullets that are currently on the screen. If we find some in there, then we're going to write bullet dot move underscore forward. That's a special function in Pygame 0, move forward. and in brackets you need to give it a speed to move at. So I'm going to get it moving at speed 15. Okay, again you can adjust that number. If you want it to move faster, make that number bigger. If you want to move it slower, make that number smaller. We'll have a look at it in a moment to test that speed. Okay, so it's going to move forward at speed 15. Let's just test that and see what it does. Not quite finished yet. Let's see if we get those bullets moving. Okay, so local variable bullet has been referenced before assignment. So we need to make bullet, thinking a global variable as well, do we? Oh, actually, no, we don't need to do that. We just haven't quite finished yet. Bullet dot move forward for bullet. Oh, I left an S out here. So for bullet in bullets, that's meant to say. I apologise. I made a typo. There we go. That is working. Sorry, I confused myself there for a minute. Okay, let's see what happens when we press spacebar. There we go. Those bullets are now shooting up the page, and if I hold spacebar down, that's that speed 20 at the moment, or the delay of 20. Looks pretty good. Now, if you want those bullets to move quicker, change this number. Let's double it. Let's go speed 30. See if they head up the page a bit quicker. So now they're moving quicker. If you want to slow them down, let's make that speed 10. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, you can see them moving slower up the page. So it's up to you how fast you want them to move. I think speed 15 was pretty good. Now, one issue we've got is those bullets, when they fly off the screen, they just end up basically flying around behind the scenes in the middle of nowhere. They'll always be in your game. And eventually, once you shoot enough of them, that will really slow your game down. I'm sure you'd have to shoot like thousands of them, but it will slow your game down. And has the potential to make your game glitch or even crash. So what we want to do is remove those bullets from the game once they leave the game screen. Okay, so we're going to add in another comment down here just below where we were writing before. And I might just say, whoops, remove the bullets once they leave the game screen. Okay, so what we're basically going to do is we're going to look in that list of bullets that are currently on the screen and just take them out of that list. Simple as that. So we'll do a test if the bullet.y. So if any bullets and their y position is less than 0, that means they've gone above the top of the page. What we want to do is write bullets, bullets. So we're going to look in that bullets list, dot remove. So we're going to remove something from the bullets list. And it's going to be that particular bullet that has gone above 0 on the y-axis. Okay, it won't make any difference to your game when you play it. The bullets will still shoot up the screen, no worries. But once they leave that game screen up the top here, those bullets will be removed and your game should keep running nice and smoothly. Alrighty, I think that's about it. A little bit of a confusing one, that one. We had to add in quite a fair bit of code. Okay, but basically, if we just do a quick recap, we created a list at the top here called bullets, which would store all the different bullets that appear on our screen at any one time. Okay, we also put in a little bit of a delay there so that the user cannot hold down that spacebar and shoot a gazillion bullets all at once. There will be a slight delay between the bullets coming out. Okay, a bit further down, okay, we just did a quick test to see if the spacebar was pressed and that the bullet delay was back to 0. So the timer had run back to 0 and we were eligible to shoot another bullet. Then it would basically create another bullet, make it appear on top of the player. The angle that it would move at would be straight up at 90 degrees. Okay, and we've got that little delay in there as well just to make sure they don't shoot too many bullets at once. What else do we have down the bottom there? We just did that section, but basically that's a little timer there that just makes sure we don't shoot too many bullets. This moves the bullets up the page. Remember to adjust the 15 if you want to speed it up or slow it down. And the last bit just removes any bullets that fly out of the top of the screen. Okay, that wasn't a very good recap, but hopefully you understand what is happening in that section of code. Okay, in the next video, we are going to get a background in, and it's going to be a scrolling background to make it look as if our spaceship is flying through the air. So I will catch you in that next video shortly.